Good morning, everyone. Well, I got a project I got to do. You haven't seen me make projects in quite a while because I've been very, very busy. I had to make a thing for my wife's reclining couch so she could lean on it to get up. That was made off video. I had to make a kind of like a shelf table about 8 inches wide and about 4 feet long to go against the wall for her new lift recliner, which was very, very, very expensive. So I've been very busy with that and taking care of her. So things have been on the back burner, let alone working in the shop. Here is where it's bad, all through here. Now, originally, all these pieces of plywood were regular plywood, 1/2 inch. And when I built the shop, which was originally built for what we call the Dorkle shed, for Uncle Dorkle. Hi, Dan. When are you ever going to do a skit on Uncle Dorkle? All right. Anyway, so this is like here to here, 24. So it's a 4x2 sheet. Up here it's solid. Okay. I don't want to start it here because that's above the bench level, and I'd have to move all the equipment that's sitting on the bench and maybe even the stuff on the shelf up there, and then remove the insulation, which is 3/4 inch thick, I think, foam board and everything. There is foam board down here, but I don't know if I glued it to the back of this plywood or not. I really don't know. This is below the bench, so I got to work up underneath the bench and bang my head, as I always do, to get in there. But this is all rotted here.
Ugh.
Now, I went in there yesterday, and it looks very good in there. The floor is dry, and the 2x4s that go down here and the footer down here are in perfect shape. But as you can see from here, it's not. So what I got to do, there's the foam board right there. There it is. I'm going to try to work on the outside so I don't have to disturb that. If this is glued to this, then I got myself a job, because if I break that foam board up, I got to go to Home Depot and buy a 4x8 sheet of that stuff, which I'll never use, just to get a little piece out of here. So if that's the case, I'm kind of like out of luck and I just can't insulate that. All right, so I'm hoping, I think I'm going to have to change all that. That's soft in there. So I got to try to pry this up. I figured probably from here, this goes even to the bottom of the floor joist, which is a 2x4 on edge. Then you got an 1.5 inch 2x6 on top of that, and then we got a 2x4 on top of that. So from here to here is roughly about 6 inches. Let's see. Math is no good. 3.5. Another 1.5 inches is 5 inches, and then another 1.5 inches. So roughly about 6 inches. So if I can cut out like this, that's fine. So the 2x4s are pretty bad in here. The way this wall is still recording time?
Yep.
All right, Tommy's got to go to work, so he's doing the beginning of this video. We have had bad weather, rain, or very cold weather, and I've been very busy, as I told you, taking care of my wife, and I still have to. The nurse comes over, I got to help out over there, and she has to go to the bathroom, I got to help her there. So I'm very busy, and I have not had time to work in the shop at all. And my knees are so bad that I have all I can do to get up off the ground. So all my work, when I bend down, it's 100% on my back. I never could bend with my knees, even when I was working. I have to bend down, not put any strain on my knees, because my knees are getting so bad. I got to do this while I'm physically still able to do it. And in the morning, I'm okay. Later in the day, I do a lot of bending, and I'm like this. I can't straighten out. It's more effort to walk straight. It's very hard. Okay, this is some extra carpet that I had stuck way up in the corner there. If you can look over here, you can see in the corner there, that's the area I have to work in. Now you can see it's from here. I'll get you a close-up later. You can see that I don't have much problem in there. It looks like it's okay. It's all external. Okay, let's go get this out of here. So you can still record. Just back up over here. I know you got the van picking you up very shortly to go to work. So we're going to have to drop the recording very quickly here. And that's just the way it is.
I'll watch it tonight. You'll probably have it all edited by the time I get home anyways.
Might still be working. It all depends on what I got to do with your mom. Because she's important. Now, speaking of mom, this was her rocking chair when she was a little girl. When I first met my wife and we moved in here, this thing was like falling apart. And at that time, I had the attic workshop still working in New London. And I took it apart and glued it all up and then used varnish on it. And the only dry place I could keep it was in the shop. So this was in the corner along with this extra piece of carpeting, which is like industrial carpeting, which is what's in our front room. And there's no other place for it, because if it goes into the main shed, it gets musty. So we don't want that. So we got to set this out here, because I need to get into this corner. So I'm going to take the camera now, shut it off. Okay. As you can see here, there's a double 2x4 right there. And that's the way I like to make them, so that I'm not sharing 1 single 1.5 inch wide 2x4 edge to nail 2 pieces of plywood to it. This is the corner there that's rotted. You can see the 2x4, and it looks like I got to get my head right in there and risk banging it. It looks like there's a small piece, a darker wood, joined with that. Remember, this was built with wood that I got from the bargain bin at Home Depot, like 50 cents a piece for a 2 foot by 4 foot sheet of 1/2 inch plywood, but it wasn't pressure treated. The lower 12 to 18 inches of the back of the shed always rots out. Now this is the back wall of the snowblower shed. So let me get in here. Unfortunately, I'm in my own light. Yeah, that's a separate piece of 2x. Okay, but you can see from looking at here, we gotta get some light. I'm in my own light. You can see that everything looks pretty good here. I even got caulking all around, and there's no water on the floor. So I'm trying to maybe get a piece to go from that 2x4. Like I say, there's 2 of them side by side there, and try to get it to go from that to the corner, which is probably going to be about 24 inches. So it got quite a bit of rot on the inside of this, and so that's going to require a lot of chiseling out. but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty good through here. I got to take careful measurements because I don't want to come up too high, because if I'm in line with the back of the bench, I'm not going to be able to get a 2x4 in here, because I need to put something in here to put the two pieces together. So like when this is done here, there is a 2x4 that runs across this way. Okay? But that's above the bench level. That's where the equipment is. The bench is probably about here. So this is probably where, it might even be where the shelf starts. I'm not really positive, because we got roughly about 6 inches from the bottom of this. I can feel the 2x4 that goes across here. So then there's a 2x4 on edge, that's 4.5. Then we got a 2x6, like 2x6 flooring in here. So that's 1.5 inches. That's 5 inches, and then the sill on that. So yeah, that's bad. Because if I can't finish this for some reason, I am going to have to put aluminum flashing on it. That's what this is. Because this kept rotting out. So I got this wide aluminum flashing, which I think is underneath the leaves over there. There's a roll of it that I got at a yard sale quite a few years ago. Very cheap. It's like roofing flashing, and it's about 12 or so inches. So I overlapped it and painted it, because the wood just kept rotting out, and I didn't want to buy pressure-treated wood. As it was, that piece I showed you, 24 by 48, was about $24. That stuff is expensive. So, we got some nails here we got to pull out. This here is aluminum flashing from the original shed that went over the 2x4, and then I made a little thing here so that the water will run off. So the back of this shed is fine. It's only for storage, and this is the snowblower shed, so there's no problem with that, but the shop I wanted to keep dry. So it looks to me like we're going to be going all the way. Yeah, there's your 2x4 there. That's the flooring. That's the 2x6 right there. That's the footer. And then your insulation sits on top of that. It looks to me like I did some gluing, but it don't look like it's too bad. So Tommy's ready to go off to work, so he can't be out here videoing. And where this screening is here, it's stapled like it is here. This is good and solid here, thank goodness for that. So this is the double 2x4 here area. So like it or not, I got to remove this. I'm going to try to, I don't like to cut it, because surprisingly enough, this isn't rotting out. Furring strip rots out very quickly. I don't know what this wood is, but I bought it a long time ago, and it's 1.5 inches wide, and it goes on the seam of the plywood. And the seam, you can see here, I use pheno seal here. The girl that works in the paint department says that better off using the construction adhesive. I don't know. I'm not into construction, but I have used pheno seal before, but they want like $8 a tube for that, whereas it's half the price for the liquid nails. Okay. Been taking some measurements. This is a piece that is, I can't see the ruler very good in the darkened corner. So I've been shaving off a little piece each time, going up under the bench and trying this in. And I got to do it now because I got to put a horizontal piece inside, and I'm going to take you in there now. Okay, I got this piece here that I have to keep shaving off, as I showed you outside, and because I can't read the ruler good in that darkened area, and it's 20 inches from the sill to the top, and I have to cut a blade width each time off of it to have it mounted horizontally. Let me show you inside here what I'm trying to do. Using the Boblov W1, and what I'm trying to do is to get a piece to go on the bottom of this 2x4 here, which overhangs. It's a piece I had to put in, I guess, when I was building the bench, so I can sister this to that. So it's going to go across here and right over here, and trying to do it one-handed now. I think it'll just about, I don't like using one-handed. There are guys on YouTube that insist on not using a tripod. Oh, good. I can hammer that right in. So it's going to be screwed up into here and over there, but I can't do any of that yet. Ooh, that's the way I like it, to fit like that. I can't do anything yet because if you look here, this is a 2x4, and it's another one added to here. Now the rot is in this area. However, it might come up to here too. I don't know. So I might have to take the reciprocating saw from the outside and cut this out and put another one in. In order to do that, I got to take this insulation out. And before I can do that, I got to establish where my line is. So I take a razor blade and cut this out so I can take this insulation out of here so that I can do my stuff here. A better look, and I'm out. This is the piece here that I want to use. That's an extra one for measuring. So that happens to be pressure treated. It doesn't need to be high up like that. The sill is not pressure treated, and neither is the vertical piece in the corner. So that's where our dilemma is. So let me take you outside and show you what I got to do here. Alright, what I've been doing here, and basically doing it by hand right now. I drove a nail in here. I pulled it out since. This is about where that 2x4 that's going here is going across. Now, from here up is all good. I'm not going to replace from here all the way down, which would be 4 feet, because I'd be behind I'd have to move 3/4 of my workbench on the left side in order to get in here, and there's nothing wrong with this. So I got to establish where that 2x4 is going, and I do my measurements from the top of this sill, which is just where the insulation sits. Up here is 20 inches. So I got to take my square and cut this out. But I got to pull this out. And I'm in the process of doing that. And this wood is very good. Down at the bottom it got messed up because this wire that keeps the raccoons and squirrels out from going under the shed. It don't keep mice out, of course, and I had to cut it off. See it all stapled up onto the wood? This wood is good and solid. There we go. Show you here. I got this at a yard sale several years ago. Good and solid. So I don't need to worry about this. So this comes down even with the vertical, the 2x4. However, the problem is here. This is the sill here. The insulation is here. This is the floor. This is the 2x4, and I don't know, that might be an extra, yeah, that's an extra piece of wood, I guess. So, I'm going to put you on a tripod here. I'm using the Boblov W1. I'm using the Boblov W1, as I said. It's the easiest camera to use. Okay, so what we got to do here, this wood is good. I can't stick a screwdriver in that. It's this board here. So, I got to kneel down on everything because I can't bend over. It kills my lower back. And then I'm a horseshoe, walking horseshoe like this. I cut the styrofoam on the inside. I stuck the horizontal piece of 2x4 across, squared it up inside, and so the styrofoam should come out. I have to pry a little bit more on this. Maybe I won't have to cut this if I can just pull enough away. Like that. The less seams, the better. Now, there is nothing to pry against in here. I don't want to break the styrofoam if I can help it. Must be a little line. I don't feel. I don't know where I'm at. That's not a precise cut anyways. I'm too damn old for this. But somebody's got to do it. I gotta get down on my knees. Alright, I don't know if you can see me or not. I gotta get myself in here so I can work. Oh, now I can do something. At least I think I can. That's nailed up pretty good there. Wood, and that wood don't look too bad up there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I ended up having to get the reciprocating saw out. The more I'm going into this, the more I'm finding bad wood. That's it, I sat right on my glasses. I've done that before. Well, it looks like I broke my safety glasses. We'll do without them. We'll do without them. It's the only pair I got. No matter how many times you put a plug in, it's always wrong. Always, always, always wrong. Never fails. No, I don't think these are going to stay on my head. I don't think so. And this wood is split right here. I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing. It's a damn glare. It's a damn sun glare. I think I'm through, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see. More like it. We just rotted on the edge, so we're going to put a piece of pressure treated in there. But I got to build up this. I got to get the camera over here to show you. Sorry for the shakiness. Shed. There's the metal. There's the metal of the old shed when I went over it with OSB shitboard. I hate that stuff. Why people build houses out of it, I'll never know. It's garbage. But at the time, I didn't know better. So it all rotted, so I just went over this with aluminum, and I got it. This is more OSB crapboard right here. So I got to build that up. I got to get this out so I can put a piece of wood in here. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be on this. So this is going to be cut out. And then we'll put a piece in here. I may not have pressure treated. Nothing I can do. I'll have to work with what I got. This here is OSB crapboard right here from the back of the old shed. And this is like fir and strip that I put in. And this piece here is a piece of pine, I guess, I put in years ago. And then the 2x went here. And you can see where I cut it off here. Okay, we have a dilemma here. Nothing new. We took out a rotted board that was in here. We need to come out. This is 1/2 inch. We need to come out even. I tacked this on here temporarily just to get the measurement of how far to bring this pressure treated board out. The board that was in here was half rotted out all the way down here. You got the metal from the old shed here, and when I try to put a 2x4 in there, which is ideal, pressure treated, it sticks out about 1/8 of an inch too much, almost 1/4. So in other words, this piece of plywood's going to be sticking out. It's going to be overhanging. We don't want that. So what we got to do, very, very shaky video, I'm sorry. What you got to do is, I got to secure this to this plywood here. And it's extra wide, so I'll be able to screw it here. Flush it out with this piece here, because this is flush with the 2x4 sill right here. And if you look here, we're rotted out here on this part of it, just the outside edge. So we cut all that out, and if you look up here, you can see where the 2x4 is, and then the 3/4 inch pine board right here. So we got to do is put that piece in, and we got to do some measurements before we do anything else, because I couldn't cut this any straighter than this. And if I try to go over and cut it again, I'll probably screw it up. Mentor. All right. I tacked this down. This is 1/2 inch wood plywood, but it's just used to line up here. So the plywood here would come against this. Naturally, it isn't going to be screwed into this. This just replaces that wood that was here. It looked good on the inside, but it was all bad on the outside. So it's also 3/4 inch. So this is the pressure treated one, and it's wider, which is good because I got 3/4 inch plywood here, and I'll be able to screw it down on this edge. Can't screw it here. This is a 2x4. Our problem is, or my problem actually, I can't use this in here. Because
it fits in there.
It fits in there, but the plywood's going to be overhanging by about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. I can't use it. Even though it's pressure treated, it fits in there nicely, I can't use it. We got all this crap board and everything else in this metal shed. There's nothing to fasten the 2x4 to. There's a 2x4 wall inside the metal. This was a metal shed, of course. The shop wasn't. I made that all wood, but everything else down to that point there is all metal underneath. and OSB crapboard underneath it. So there's nothing there. The screws just go into metal. And there's basically nothing to nail to. So I can't use that 2x4 in there. What I'm going to have to do, I got that screwed in here so I can take that out. Alright, this is 1/2-inch plywood. What I'm replacing this with is the same as this, 1/2-inch pressure treated. That's the same thickness right there.
Did you cut it already?
No. Alright, so now what I need to do, because this is right out there, even. So the piece that I put in here cannot go beyond this point. It's got to be flush with this. So what I have to do is to take a 3/4 inch piece, which is here. This is a little piece of pressure treated. Pancake them together with the, unfortunately this is wide, so I'm not going to be able to really get it in there good. But with these pieces in there, it flushes out here. Like, this is 3/4, this is 1/2. The 2x4 obviously is way too thick, so the 2x4 is at least a 1/4 inch, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. It comes out too far, so it's forcing the plywood that I'm going to be putting in here, which is 1/2 inch. It's going to stick out a little bit. So what we got to do is tap this over just a little bit.
I'm going to the mall tonight.
Yeah. Alright, so right now we're flush. Okay? So at that point, we're going to drive a screw in here. And of course I'm working on an angle. I like to work straight on when I'm doing these things. And I normally pre-drill, but if I'm careful. Alright, let's just see what we're at. We're using this as a guide, because this is coming right up against the plywood. So now, oh, this is 3/4, that's not going to work. This is 1/2 inch, this is what's going to do. Perfect. Perfect. So, what I'm going to have to do is to put the 2x4 here, going across, and we got a little bit of a problem in here. We're going to have to shim that up, I guess, because we're going to be putting the 2x4 across here, and it's going to be, this isn't cut straight, but just disregard that, because I got a nail in here. This is the stuff I cut out of here. So the new piece will screw here. This will not really have a support. But that's the only thing I can do, because I can't cut back anymore up there. You know. So what we've got here is a little bow in the middle here. It'll have to be filled in, because I really can't plane this. First of all, the power plane is way in the back of the shed, and running a power plane upside down, I'm not good at it. So we'll put some more screws into this. This whole thing here is a nightmare, because we're going against a rotten shed here, metal shed. If I had known this years and years ago, I would have built the entire thing out of wood.
It would have lasted.
It would, yeah, the only thing would go on these things, that don't belong in there. star bit. This is a 1 5/8 sheetrock screw, which is what I use for internal work. And I'll use it out here too. Not a big deal. So we got to put the wood, as I told you, this is the sill, this is the floor,
Looks all
and the edge of
rotted.
the 2x4, and we got some other wood.
Looks all rotted.
It is, but it's not gonna hurt anything. You know, there's got to be a nail in there. I can't see nothing. Eyes are so damn bad. I guess there's a nail there I got to take out. I don't know. Maybe not. It's pretty hard wood, some of it. It's like a surface rot or something. Nail there. Ooh. It's a nail or a screw. Feels like a nail. Oh, man. That wood ain't rotten. I'll tell you, it may look it. Ah, that nail ain't moving. That is in there.
Crowbar.
Yeah. Oh, oh, Christ! You ain't gonna move that. Do is you just bend it over. That's solid. And all I'm gonna do is just put the plywood. We're gonna nail it right in here, or screw it into here. This is the floor, as I said. This is 2x6 here, and then there's supposed to be a 2x4 on edge, but I think it might be something more than that. Okay, what I did here is put a 3/4 inch piece of pressure treated board here. Only can go down to here because it's got a 2x4 pressure treated underneath here when I added it years ago. This is 1/2 inch pressure treated plywood, but I can't see to cut a straight line. Eyes are bad. I have to rely on a table saw. I can't cut with a skill saw a straight line. Even though I got a line on it, I can't. I got to use a guide board. So I got to recut this. But what I think I'm going to do when I recut it, I think I'm going to cut a wider piece so it'll overhang the metal here. Then I can caulk it. In other words, it don't have to come out even with this. It can come out just a little bit and end up down here and then cut around here. I'm never going to keep the water out of here, but at least it ain't going to rot out. And that's good and solid. I managed to get a couple of screws in there, and then I'll just cut another piece. Probably, I don't know, maybe that wide. That should be it. So we'll come back when I get that done. Alright, I've been working on this for a couple hours now. We've got a pressure treated piece of 2x4 here. Pressure treated wood here. We got this piece pressure treated that's going to go in here. And it's going to fit in there, and it's going to be an overlap. I can't do it one-handed. It's going to be an overlap in here. And the reason it's going to be overlap is this is now flush. So we're going to put some liquid nails in here all the way through. That's why I left that off. We're in the process of putting the piece across here. I got to go inside and cut some of that styrofoam out of there. This is just a cleat to hold the 2x4 up, because I had to cut the old one out. So this is kind of like, just holds it up. And here, where the other 2x4 is I showed you, we're going to pre-drill a hole in this piece here you see laying there. That's going to go across here. And we'll put a screw in there, and we'll work on this side. And then we'll have enough wood to put screws in here too. So you actually got a little more of the 2x4 hanging down here than here, but I can always put another piece on top, a small piece of wood, so that I'll be able to screw this in as well. So we're almost done with this, but I got to go inside and bang my head a little bit and try to get this styrofoam out of this corner here and other stuff that's in there. Oh, what an SOB job this was. I was off camera for, I don't know, several hours. Had to keep taking the wood back and forth to cut out these areas down here. And what a hell of a job. And it's not good. Got a gap in here, but I managed to put the 2x4 in here and another 2x4 on top of it and screwed it in. So it's sealed good. I got so damn mad I just broke the damn thing off over here because that kept getting in the way and trying to get the board and trying to save the trim, but well, it's cracked, but I guess I can put it back in there. What I got to do is I got to put some caulking in here. I got to get some caulking. This is not really caulking. This is liquid nails, but that's what the girl says they use. So it's all good, pressure treated all through here, and it's very solid. I'll finish this up the next time. I think it's going to rain, so I'm not going to be able to do any more. So I'm done for tonight. Come back on this video the next good day we have. I think it's going to rain tomorrow. That's nothing new. That's it. Well, it's the next day, and of course it rained overnight. Naturally, it's all the sawdust here. Well, I worked until dark. I couldn't even see the head of the screw to put it in. What a job. I was rushing and rushing. I finally got it closed in. There'll be a lot of editing on this video. I haven't started putting it at the time I'm making this recording. I haven't started making putting the video together yet. There's a lot of work I did off camera. I had to pull this trim out, so I got to put that back in. Can't get one good day. You get one good day of work and it rains the next day. Nothing has a chance to dry. This is liquid nails. That's not really made for sealing, but I was kind of talked into it. I got to get some Pheno seal or something. This is aluminum here, but I got it sealed better now than I had before, and this is pressure treated here. So I got more screws to put in, but I was working in the dark. I couldn't see anything. The sun was down, and of course I'm on the opposite side of the shed, so it's even darker over here last night. I made up my mind that I'm going to finish this, no matter if I had to work until midnight. And I'm telling you, I was exhausted. My back, actually. my back was so bad. But I still gotta put the screening up there. Otherwise, I'm gonna have raccoons and squirrels. I haven't seen any raccoons around, and probably put something in here. Probably get this straightened out. But I got to put more screws in here, and I got to put the styrofoam back on the inside. And I pulled this away, and I got to work these nails out, and I got to get some kind of sealant. I'm all out of. I used up the whole tube of liquid nails. So I had to break it away. Just like I said, it was in my way, but I think I can get it back in. I just gotta take a vice grip and work these nails out so that I can put the stuff in there and seal it. It's not too bad. Okay, so what I got to do here is I got to put that piece of foam rubber over back in there again. And I keep saying foam rubber, styrofoam, on that board that you can see there, that pressure treated. And then I can put these items back under there. And that pretty well straightens that out. So this is going to conclude this video. I don't need the video me putting this back in here again. I gotta when this dries a little more, I want to get some sealant to go behind that trim, and later on in the year I'll paint that, which is nothing more than latex garbage anyway, so don't protect the wood. But this is pressure treated now, and the only thing I want to get is something to go down here, but really there isn't much. I just probably cut that off, and just, the wood goes down into about here, cut that off. That'll all be done at a later date. And I want to let this set and dry. And we can get this back together. But I won't do that today unless the sun comes out. But I got other stuff I got to do here. So that concludes this video. Unfortunately, I couldn't video all of it. I was working several hours while Tommy was out with his mentor, so I was working late and pretty aggravated because it was getting dark and hard for me to see. I didn't want to get a flashlight. It wasn't that dark, but it was, the sun was going down, and the bugs are starting to bother me, believe it or not. So that's it. That concludes the video. Sorry for it to be so long. I'm doing a lot of editing, as you will see or have seen in the video. Thanks for watching.